Fans, thank you guys for tuning in to this week of Voice of the Fans podcast. This should be explosive episode today. We got a lot of things on it. We got a lot of things to talk about. I try to send my man. I try to send Cleavon a video of the streaker. Man, I've never seen this before. On a rainy day in Washington D.C., the streaker goes in and does a slip and slide on the field and slides right into the tube. Cleavon was not interested. He was less than interested in the streaker, and I wonder why. We're gonna get to that later. As you know, as always, this is your man Cam. Thank you guys for joining the Voice of the Fans podcast. Got my man Cleavon up in the Northwest. How you doing, big guy?
Hey Cam, I'm doing great. I am fired up for this particular episode.
Yeah, why are you so fired up, man? Why
Oh
are you
man,
so
we'll
fired
get
up?
to it. We'll get to it. There's no need to rush, man. We got plenty of time.
Okay, all right.
You'll hear all about it.
Yeah. Well, in this week's episode, man, we're going to talk about the NBA. NBA playoffs is on fire right now. The NBA is taking over the world. Cleveland diverted me last week. We didn't get to talk about Kwame Brown, but we're going to get to Kwame. We're going to get to him. As he says, we're going to spread my mother's cooking all over this episode, Cleveland.
Let's do it.
We're going this day in history, as always, fans. We're going to talk about a numbers segment, as always, fans. So we want to thank you guys again for tuning in to Voice of the Fans podcast. And I want to give a shout out to those listening, however you're listening, wherever you're listening, whether you're working out, you're on a walk, you're on a jog, you're commuting to work, commuting from work. We appreciate you for tuning in. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let us know, leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the show. Let us know what you would like to see added to the show. If there's any segments or any topics that you would like to have added to the show, let us know. We can accommodate you. That's a good thing about being this small organization, man. We can make quick and moves and agile moves, Mr. Cleveland. I don't know I still got some agility left, man. I don't know how's the hip, man. I don't know how agile you are up there. How's the hip though?
Fantastic. Thanks for asking, Cam. Especially with this playoffs, man. It just got me all rejuvenated. For real.
Got your gooses, your blood flowing, huh?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, man. Yeah. I do my calisthenics while watching these games, man. It's fantastic.
Oh man, well don't do too much. You might miss something, man. You might miss something like Memphis upsetting Utah. You might miss something like the Nets going up to. I mean, have you seen the Nets?
I have.
Man, are you paying attention to what they're doing? How they're pulverizing Boston?
Yeah, man. We'll chit chat about that as well, man. Yeah, let's get to it.
We're gonna get to it. So as always, fan, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, if you're not. However you're listening to the show, leave us a rating, leave us a review. If you're on YouTube, give us a comment, man. We're live on YouTube right now, so thank you guys for tuning in to the YouTube page. And again, hit that subscribe button. Want to give a shout out to our fellas at HNB Media TV as also for doing what they're doing. We'll be live on Thursday, so again, make sure you give those guys a follow, HNB Media TV, and then subscribe to our page as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. Cleavon, it's that time, man. Let's get started. Cleavon, May 26, 2021, man. Another week. The year's gonna be half gone, buddy. Another couple of weeks. LA's opening up with the pandemic. We're trying to put it past us down here. So things is opening up and moving quickly down here. How about up there? Are they as quick?
Probably not as quick as LA, but definitely getting there. I'm getting my second shot on Saturday, so I'm thankful for doing that. And after that, I feel like it's going to open up for us. Not just me, specifically, but more people are doing that, and it's going to get back to normal.
Well, good for you, man. Good for you. May 26, 2021, week 140. So our numbers, Cleavon, we look at the number 26. It is a 26. When you think of the number 26. Who comes to your mind first, or who wore that number best?
Who comes to mind first is a cornerback that left for greener pastures and went to Jacksonville from the Seattle Seahawks, Shaquille Griffin. Man, gonna miss that dude, but hey, couldn't give him $14 million. So sorry.
Hey,
glad that you got your cheese, and congratulations to you.
Did you find somebody to replace him? Did you find somebody to replace him?
We're working on that. We're working on that, Cam. Training camp's open up here in a couple of months, so we'll be okay.
Okay. All right, still working on that. Okay.
And who wore it best would be probably the third baseman, Wade Boggs.
Uh, Claude was up there. I don't know if he's better than the greatest defensive back to ever play the sport of the football in the NFL. I don't know. I don't know if he's better than that
Deion
guy.
Sanders did not wear
No,
number
no, no.
26. He wore number
Yeah, yeah.
21.
No. This guy
Deion
played two
Sanders wore
positions.
number 21.
This guy played two positions. I'm talking about. He played safety and cornerback. I said best defensive back in
So
to
did
ever
Deion
grace the
Sanders.
field.
Deion
He
Sanders
didn't
did
play.
both as well.
He didn't play safety, and when he
He did play safety for the Baltimore Ravens. He
by the
played
time he
safety.
got to safety, he was a shell of himself. He didn't. Deion Sanders didn't tackle like Rod Woodson. He didn't have his return game was close. His return
Return
game
game
was
was
pretty awesome.
close.
His return game was pretty awesome. Rod Woodson, the best defensive back to ever play the game. You got any argument at me? I said what I said. You got any arguments on that? Hit me on Twitter. What's good in sport or Instagram? Voice of fans on Instagram. Rod Woodson, the best cornerback ever to grace the field, the National Football League field, Cleveland, and there's no argument about that. Stop it. That's who I think of. Who that's who wore it best, and that's what I think of number 26. So nice try. Week 140. We're gonna look at the number 40. Who wore that number best? The number 40. A few guys who wore that kind of uh, nicely in my mind.
Person that first comes to mind is the Rain Man, Sean Kemp, just for what he brought to the city, and his enthusiasm, his intensity. Definitely made it happen up here. Probably the person that wore it best. The youngest player to ever be inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, the Kansas Comet Gale Sayers.
Was it you, Cleveland, that told me that Sean Kemp was overrated?
I mean,
Not overrated.
relatively speaking, yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of there's a little bit
exactly.
of hype to his game, but at the same time, he's the first person that comes to mind. I mean, he is a Rain Man around here.
Okay, so I think underachiever was the exact terminology used. Did I get that right?
I think he could have been better. I don't think that he maximized his fullest potential. No, I don't.
Okay. Well, yeah, certainly. After that '96 finals, I mean, there was not coming back with the hunger and to repeat and try to duplicate those performances of that season. Yeah, there were some issues there. I'd agree with you on that one. Cleveland, we're gonna start this week, man. As we did last week, the NBA topics are too hot just to put on a back burner, man. And we got so many things going on right now. We're gonna have to talk about it.
Let's do it.
So let's start with this. In fact, we'll come back around to this in our this week in history. I'm gonna move this first line to this week in history. We'll come back to that. But I want to talk about Kristaps Porzingis out here in Los Angeles. Comes to play the Los Angeles Clippers, and he's in town for a few days longer than normal. Usually when they fly in the night before or sometimes the day before, and then they kind of get out of town real quickly. But Kristaps says, "Hey, I'm in LA. I got some time to go do some shopping, and things are kind of open up around here to do some shopping and to tour some some popular establishments around the country, and some things he may not have seen in his days growing up. Let's just put it like that. I it's Los Angeles, but these places he's attended or might be a little bit more loose and joyful in the state of Texas. I'll be honest to say that. But he did nonetheless. He's in here in L.A. He wants to see how they do it in L.A. He goes to the Gentlemen's Club, and lo and behold, some pictures get out, and the commissioner has a pink slip for him. Says that's going to cost you. That tour is going to cost you, instead of the 10 grand you dropped at the Gentlemen's Club, it's going to cost you another 50 grand for you being out in public. Cleveland, what do you think about that? And let me tie it into this storyline here, where it might be a little hypocritical coming from Adam Silver, because a few days earlier there was another gentleman, you might recognize him, plays number 23 for the Los Angeles Lakers, decides he's going to pose with some movie stars and actors and recording artists, um, because he's launching a new tequila. Like, yet, yet the NBA puts out a statement justifying why this was okay for one guy to do, and the other guy goes to have a little fun, enjoy himself, which all men do and have done, and he gets a 50 grand fan. Explain the hypocrisy right there, if you will, for me.
Sure, Cam. Well, first off, it's in Kristaps' nature to be that way. He is a prodigy of Carmelo Anthony. Came up with the New York Knicks as a very young, um, almost adolescent. I believe he was 19, 20 years old when he came to the Knicks, and got indoctrinated into that culture. You know, under Carmelo Anthony's wing, plus all of the hip hop that goes on there. I mean, he's just built a little bit differently than you think. So his indiscretions, if you will, in Los Angeles are not surprising. He'll take the slap on the wrist, he'll pay the fine, and he'll be better for it. But when he's in LA, he is stops Porzingis. He is that dude. He is he's a leprechaun, right? Excuse me, the unicorn, not the leprechaun, the unicorn.
Or the unicorn,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we give him a pass for that. With regards to LeBron James, well, he's just trying to promote the league and the brand and make it better, bigger, stronger.
Is he promoting the league or himself?
These next couple of years, wherein they have to absorb some of the losses that they've already had, and he's just trying to make the NBA a better thing, a better entity for everyone. So
was this a sponsor? Was this a league function event? A league sponsored event? Is this brand sponsoring the league?
Everything that LeBron James did was to better the league. So everything that Kristaps Porzingis did was to better himself. So look at these two things completely, totally separately, Cam. In regards to the impact on the league as a whole.
Your reasoning was just as piss poor as LeBron's reasoning. Everything I do is for my family. It's a strategic event for my family. I just want to make sure my family's safe. Your family had nothing to do with this event. I didn't see.
He's always trying to provide for his family. Cam, you can't knock a man for trying to provide for his family. He's trying to do the best he can out here in these hard streets. It's hard for cats right now. It's pandemic going on. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
It's hard for LeBron James.
It's hard for everybody, Cam. It's hard for every human being on this planet right now, including LeBron James. He's a human being just like everybody else.
Oh my goodness. So you're totally okay with this. The guy who won't go to a baseball stadium or NBA arena because he's worried about catching the COVID. A guy who won't get on the bus, who won't go to the movies. He's afraid of catching COVID. But LeBron James goes out and celebrates a product launch, and you're totally fine with that.
I'm okay with that. It's for the betterment of the league. It's for the betterment of humanity. What he's going to do with the
betterment of humanity now.
You didn't let me finish. What he is going to do with the proceeds and the profits of this next endeavor, I mean, it's going to be fantastic. You've already seen what he's done in Cleveland, right? Cleveland and Columbus.
Okay.
I promise pledge, extraordinary. It's got to be funded from somewhere, Cam.
Okay, well, if you want to get serious about it, he's actually not funding that. He's probably the face of that, but he has a lot of sponsors that were
okay. Well, look, Cam, he's putting his own dollars into it as well, and this is just going to be another source, just another pipeline into the whole project. That's all.
So now you're equating alcohol with the kids getting an education. That's what you're doing.
Look, Cam, they have to get the monetary means to fund that situation from somewhere. And wherever it comes from is where it comes from. It's not illegal funds. It's not illegal.
You guys hear this hypocrisy not only from Adam Stern and then Mr. Young Sam Rothstein himself? That sounds like the height of hypocrisy. Because I tell you what, had what's my man for the Canadian for the Memphis Grizzlies? Why am I having a brain lock? What if Grayson Allen decided to do this and go promote some tequila, um, I think they would have tried to buy the tequila from him, try to take the endorsement from him, and then find him that same amount of money. If Grayson Allen decided to go pose with some movie stars and recording artists and do the same thing, I think the response from the NBA would have been a little different. What do you think, sir?
I don't think that Grayson Allen, has that kind of footprint with regards to historical evidence that he's going to do something great with the funds and better
Oh,
his community and his people. I don't
oh,
think Grayson Allen has actually shown that propensity in the past, so probably wouldn't give him a pass on that. No.
oh. So now, yeah, this guy, hypocrisy at its finest. I'll tell you that. That's what it is. Hypocrisy at its finest, Mr. Cleveland. So let's cut into what's really happening on the court. We got
Okay.
the Memphis Grizzlies. Got the
Yeah.
Memphis Grizzlies actually took the first game against the Utah Jazz. Looked like the Jazz weren't too happy about that. Right now, they're smacking them around by 20 points as they go to halftime. It looks like they're going to reclaim or even up the series. What's your thoughts on Memphis Grizzlies? Do they have a chance to upset the Jazz, the number 8 seed who upset Golden State Warriors, who last week when we were talking, man, were 1 3 3 seconds in the lane call away from advancing into the playoffs, but they didn't call the 3 seconds in the lane on KCP, Contavious Caldwell-Pope. Did you see that play? I know you're gonna
Yeah, I
tell
don't
me
know
you
what you're
didn't see
talking
it.
about. Did they call that, Cam?
Oh yeah,
Was
of
that
course
one
you.
of the calls they made?
Of course you didn't know what they. No, it's a call they ignored. Is what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
well, I
The
mean, if
call
they didn't
they
make the
ignored.
call, then it didn't happen.
Oh really? Okay. All right. So Memphis Grizzlies, who again upset the Golden State Warriors and is now playing the Utah Jazz. What's your? Can they get another game? Can they? How's the series going to finish?
I certainly think they can get another game, Cam. They took advantage of the fact that Donovan Mitchell wasn't playing in the first game, and Utah probably didn't take them very seriously. And quick punch in the face, and they kind of weren't ready. And then it's like, whoa, what's going on, little dude? And then the second game they kind of put their big boy pants on and came out there and like, hey, this is what Western Conference playoffs is all about, and we'll see what you got. And you got your split early, and we'll have to go to Memphis and see if we can't get it back.
Yeah. So right now, again, as I mentioned, they just went into halftime. They're down 20 to the Utah Jazz with Donovan Mitchell back in action. So that's an 8-1 series. We had some interesting developments here in the number 4 versus the 5 series. Los Angeles Clippers welcome Dallas Mavericks into town, and the only thing I can say is Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic. Have you seen Luka? Are you familiar with his work? He comes to town, and regardless if it was Kawhi Leonard, Patrick Beverly, Marcus Morris Jr., Paul George, it didn't matter who guarded him. Luka went to work on him. Did you see the results?
Well, Cam, I'm pleasantly surprised that you kind of saw the situation unfold the same way I did. I mean, lean back, Luka Doncic is just dominating those guys, man. He plays at his own pace. Doesn't seem like he's in a hurry. He just kind of goes to where he wants and does what he wants to do. Um, and the difference between this season and last season is the unicorn. I don't know if you saw both games, Cam, but I saw something in the first game that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen watching NBA basketball. I saw Kristaps Porzingis get the basketball on the wing. I saw a Clipper player try and act like he was going to block the shot, and then saw Kristaps go up like maybe 15 feet in the air and come down with a dunk. He was like, "Oh no, I want no parts of that." Yeah. So he's been the difference so far. Just the attitude and just the way that he's been able to complement lean back Luka. It's been kind of crazy out there. I mean, 0-2. They lost both the games in the
Well,
Staples. I mean, they went so far as to cover up the banners as they do all the time. Is to not get distracted about what can really go on in that place. And they just haven't really answered. But the one thing that we do know about the Clippers is that they don't feel pressure. So when they go to Dallas, I mean, we'll just see what happens. You know what I'm saying? The problem is,
Listen to this
from a
guy.
spectator's perspective, I'm not sure if they're going to understand the gravity of the situation, if this is kind of important, and that maybe there's a sense of urgency that they should have. I don't know where Uncle Ray is. He's supposed to be their leader, their father figure. I haven't really seen him so far. And I'm not quite sure how many minutes DeMarcus Cousins has logged either. Less than 5, from what I could tell. So, I mean, the Clippers certainly have their work cut out for them. And going back to Dallas, where lean back Luka is extremely comfortable. I don't know what they can do really. Hope for a split, I guess.
So, did I see the games? I was at both games. I was there in the building at both games. 100 level for the first game. I had to move up top for the second
Did you
game
see
to
the
get
Did you see the play I'm talking about though, Cam?
Y2K. So I can't differentiate from that play from multiple plays where the Clipper players seem to run away from the defensive their defensive positioning and their defensive accountability because they've given up numerous of points here when they probably shouldn't have. As you mentioned, the lack of urgency, such urgency is concerning. Um, as you know, you heard Paul George say, "No, there's no pressure." He's not concerned. He's not concerned at all. Um, Kawhi Leonard showed a little bit of not concern is not the right word. The word I'm looking for, irritation with the situation. So that was nice to see from a competitive standpoint. Um, I'm not sure I like the Ty Lue response when asked, how do you keep your guys confident? Ty Lue says, well, I'm always confident. You have to ask them about their confidence level. Like, okay, Ty, you can't really separate yourself from the team, Ty. Like, you are part of the team, Ty. In fact, you're the leader of the team, Ty. You can't, this ain't the right time to separate yourself. And he made it clear that a couple times that he's always confident. He's been down before. Pressure, he made that clear. He made that evident that he doesn't feel pressure because pressure to him is something totally different, and that the pressure playing the game of basketball was not going to um, preclude him from having confidence in what his team can get accomplished. I want to see if that works. I've been riding with Ty all season long, but there were some things, Cleveland, I must point out. As you know, I'll say it today, as I said it last month and 2 months ago. I had the Clippers and the Nets playing in the NBA Finals this season. That could still happen. We've seen teams go down. It's happened before, where teams have lost 2 games and come back to win a series. It's happened before. Ty again made that clear that they have to win 4 games. He said that's all he knows, but I think he knows a little bit more than that. He says, yeah, they have to win 4 games, and right now they won 2 games. Okay, here's why I'm concerned.
No, right now they've won no games. That's the problem.
No.
Yeah.
No. They have to win 4 games. Is the Mavericks have to win 4 games before the series is over? So there's still
sure.
a couple games to go.
But they only have to win 2 more games. The Los Angeles Clippers have to win 4 of the 6 games, and 3 of them are on the road.
So here's the situation, or here's why I'm concerned, and then I'll get to why I think they can still pull this off.
Okay.
What I'm concerned about is these last 2 games here in LA. The Clippers played in front of a modest home crowd of about 7,000 people. When they get to Dallas on Friday, there's going to be a packed house, 18,000 people. This team hasn't played in front of 18,000 people in almost a season and a half. How are they going to respond to that? As we know, it's over. It's been over a year since they played in that size crowd. So how are they going to respond to that? That's one. Yeah, you mentioned Kristaps Porzingis and the dunk he made that he closed the game out with, and that was a highlight dunk. But what you probably weren't aware of is that was coming off of Luka breaking his defender down. And when I say they can't handle him, it's whether they're blitzing him, whether they're trapping him, whether they're doubling him. Luka is not speeding up. He doesn't have a second, third, or fourth gear. He has one gear. He has one speed. Okay, and that's controlling the pace of the game. You can't speed him up like you might be able to speed up, say, um, Damian Lillard, or you might be able to speed up another point guard in the game where you send a couple guys at him and now he has to make a quick rash decision. Luka doesn't have to make that rash decision because number one, he can pull up and shoot over anybody you're sending at him. Number two, he has a vision and the ability to make the correct play, and that's what you saw. He made the correct play to, I think it was Finney Smith, who then turned and made the play to a driving Kristaps Porzingis. And when Kristaps is driving and catches a pass, there's really, at 7 foot and he jumps in the air, there's really nobody who's going to be able to do anything with him. Manute's not playing no more. Or he hasn't played in a long time. There's really nobody's going to be able to do anything with that. So it was the play of Luka that initiated that rotation to get Kristaps that easy dunk. That's been the problem for these guys all series long, or the last two games, I should say, is whether it's been Kawhi, whether it's been Paul George, Marcus Morris doesn't have. Marcus Morris has the brute strength, but Luka's not there to be strength to be pushed on. Luka moves out of the way. It doesn't allow him to get physically moved out of his rhythm. Patrick Beverly, Chris, Luka told you what Patrick Beverly told you about Patrick Beverly. He told you and anybody watching games what he thought of Patrick Beverly. He's not big enough. There's nothing he can do. Not a thing he can do against Luka. So that renders actually Patrick Beverly useless in this series because he can't do anything to Luka. And what has happened is, Cleveland, is they've allowed the others to be far too comfortable. It started in game one. They allowed these guys. They allowed Luka accounted for 58 points, 31 points himself. He scored 11 assists. 5 of those 11 assists were on three-pointers. That equals 58 points. And within that, the others scored 62 points, really outclassing what the Clippers were able to do. Marcus Morris wasn't scoring. Patrick Beverly wasn't scoring. Hell, we haven't seen Luke Kennard, who they paid $64 million to. Paul George in that first game was 1 for 7 in the first half. He finished the game with 23 points, but by that time they were kind of out of the mix. Kawhi Leonard had to play. I think he had 30 points in that first game. But I remember, no, he had 26 points in that first game. But they not enough points to equal up to Luka's 58 points, and then the 62 points that he got from everybody else. So they allowed those guys to get too comfortable. And kicking off game two, we saw that they were just way too comfortable because within the first plays, Kristaps got a dunk, and then Tim Hardaway Jr. hit a three-pointer. In 30 seconds, they're up 5-0. Again, wide open three-pointer. So my concern is that they're going to Dallas with these guys riding high. And I have to disagree with Tyler when he says there's no pressure on those guys on the road. There's no pressure on the other guys on the road. They can come in the game freely, just shoot. If they make it, doesn't matter because they're on the road. There's no pressure. Typically, those others play better at home in all the games I watched. So now that they were able to do what they did on the road, I would expect some of that to carry over at home when you're sleeping in your own bed, you're eating your own food. Now you get to drive your own car to the arena. Like now you're in a comfort zone. I would expect them to be a little bit more comfortable. However, here's what the Clippers. So there's some challenges the Clippers are severely challenged being down 0-2. And we heard Paul George say, "No, there's no pressure or whatever." We heard Ty Lue says they got to win 4 games. Okay, here's how they can win. We need more Terrence Mann, the young guy, the Terrence Mann since the All Star break. Cleveland. What's the numbers that Kyrie Irving he achieved this season that only like 9 players have achieved? What's that number?
50, 40, 90.
Terrence Mann since the All Star break. 54, 45, 85. So that's a couple of free throws away from that historic feat, right? Obviously, it's a half a season versus a full season, but that tells you since the All Star break, kind of in his player development season, what he's been able to do. If you watched the game yesterday, when he came on the court, he's a shot of energy for that team. He's able to defend. He's able to get steals. His hustle plays earns points. In the 15 minutes he played, I think he was a +8. He scored 8 points. I think he got 8 points, 6 rebounds, and was a +8 on the board. Ty, I asked Ty yesterday in pregame, like, doesn't this? He's a 5% shot on the free throw. He's a couple free throws made free throws away from being 50, 40, 90 since the All Star break. Doesn't that earn him some points or earn him some playing time in the series? Ty says we'll see facetiously, as I expected. We see that. So we need more. We need more, or they need more Terrence Mann in the game.
No, it's okay. You said we.
I've been
It's
screaming.
cool. Go. It's okay. You said we. It's okay.
They brought in Rajon Rondo.
Mm. Benedict Rondo.
If you're gonna bring in Rondo, use him. He does you no good. His services does you no good on the bench. His services do you no good at the last 4 minutes of every quarter. Every quarter. That's how he's bringing them in there. Last 3.5 minutes. They do. He needs to start. He needs to start. I like Reggie Jackson because he's not afraid to shoot. He's gonna put it up. He's gonna get up his buckets. You gotta love and hate that at the same time. But because they need somebody to score, you gotta appreciate that. Patrick Beverly, don't bring him off the bench anymore this season. This season he can't do you any good. Your rotation should be Rondo starting, PG, Kawhi Leonard. I like Zoo, but Zoo is challenging because they hunt Zoo down. We saw they hunt Zoo and they hunt Marcus Morris. Luca hunts him. Whoever's guarding him, he says, "Hey, you, Zoo's guarding you. Come see me at the top of the key." Once he comes to the top of the key, he switches off on Zoo, and now he's giving Zoo the step back. He's giving, and I love Zoo. I love Ibisa. He's great. He just not be able to guard Luka Doncic at the top of the key or the 3-point line. He has no business out there. So if that happens, you got to put Ibaka back in. You got to put Ibaka in the game immediately. Immediately. Why he played 6 minutes last night? Who knows? Who knows? So those are 3 changes that 3 guys who they need to get in the game, and who will make these games look differently. And they have to play with some sense of urgency. We may need Marcus to take one for the team and be a little bit more egregious than Dylan Brooks is who I was talking about. If Dylan Brooks was a guy who out there was promoting his tequila brand, I think Adam Silver might have a different response. But we might need Marcus Morris to take one for the team. You know, I don't care if it looks as bad as it did last year. I don't care what it looks like. We might need you to kind of give an elbow or two, step on somebody's ankle. We might need you to take one for the team. Kind of get our aggressiveness back. Um, that's my thing. What do you have to say, Mr. Cleveland? And so I told you what I've seen, how they've been beat up here the last 2 games, and what Luka's amazing. And to take nothing away from him, he's absolutely amazing. And the thing I like about Luka, as I mentioned, they can't speed him up. So however they pressure him, they cannot speed him up. He gets to his spots. He does what he's going to do, and he might be the best 22-year-old I see play the game. I remember Magic winning the championship, Jim Center back in the early days. Magic wasn't this good. He didn't have this good of a playoff series. Magic was not this good. I hate that this is happening in the first round of the playoffs because they can go on and lose this not only this series, but they can lose in round 2 and then everybody will forget about what Luka did. But he's been absolutely amazing, averaging I think it's 35 because he had 39. He had 31 and 39. So he's averaging 35, like 9 and 8, and all of these games against the Clippers, I mean, nobody's putting up those type of stats as a rookie, or excuse me, as a 22-year-old in the NBA. You have the floor.
Yeah, Cam, I appreciate your heartfelt explanation as to why the Clippers aren't winning and what they can do to somehow change the sequence of events that are happening in this series. But unfortunately, that's not the case. I was a little disappointed that you pointed to the fact that the Los Angeles Clippers only got 7,000 people in the second largest city in America to come to their games as somewhat of a factor as to why they didn't win. No. Please let me finish. Please let me finish. And then having fear, that losing the first 2 games and then having to go to Dallas knowing that they are going to be in a filled arena will somehow play a part in the Clippers not winning this series. That will not play a part in the Clippers not winning this series. The Clippers were already not going to win this series after they went down 0-2. So all of your explanations as to how and why, and maybe they could somehow get back into it. No, there's no getting back into this. They're done here, and you know that. And it's unfortunate because being down 0-2, there is still some semblance of hope that you're holding on to. I mean, geez, the series isn't over just yet. It ain't over till it's over, like Yogi Berra says, but it's over. Unfortunately, that interior defense of the Clippers is atrocious. I watched Willie Cauley-Stein look like he was still playing at the University of Kentucky. It was kind of embarrassing. Where was the Zubac? Where was the Ibaka? As I aforementioned, DeMarcus Cousins, haven't seen him. You're looking around for Kawhi and Paul George to kind of bail you out, and they're looking back and forth at each other like which one of us is going to bail us out, and either one of them has an answer. It's getting pretty pathetic. And once like you're saying, once they go back to Dallas, that's great. Great performance. Great performance. He could not shut down Luka Doncic. Lean back Luka Doncic. I'm sorry, say it right. Lean back Luka. When he has opportunities. So as they go to Dallas, like you're saying, yeah. If there's no sense of urgency, no team has ever won from 0-3 before. So if they don't win game 3, they're not going to win the series. So to say that they just don't care and they're just going to come out and just play loose and aggressive and just see what happens, yeah. Cam, you might as well go to them as their travel agent right now and start booking flights for Cancun because that's where they're going. Get them an early rate so they don't have to pay as much, and they can get out of town before all of the backlash from losing in the first round and perhaps quite possibly getting swept. It has to come down on them. They have no chance. It's unfortunate, but we talked about this all season long, and here we are.
You guys are so quick. I mean, you're tickled pink. I can see how tickled you are about the
I'm not
potential.
tickled. I'm sad for you, Cam, because I know how much you have vested into this. You've been saying we, and I know
I
how
see
you
again.
entire like this, man. I mean, I feel bad for you, dog. I
Oh
do.
my goodness.
You rep the
Oh
Clippers
my
tough,
goodness.
man. I don't want to see you go through
Listen,
this. It's like
listen.
watching
It's
your
not like
friend.
you.
It's like watching your friend fight the gooch, and he just keeping to get his face just scraped across the asphalt. You're like, oh, stop doing that to him. That's what it feels like watching you like try and defend the Clippers right now, man. It's terrible.
It seems like you're enjoying it though. It seems like you're
I'm
enjoying
not
it.
though.
And here, listen.
That's what I'm saying.
You
I'm
can't even
not
you can't
enjoying
even
it.
keep the grin off your face. You can't even keep the grin off your face right
It
now.
validates the fact that I've been right this whole time, but I'm not happy about it, Cam. No.
Listen, it's not over. The series is not over.
It's not over.
It's only two. Did when Kawhi won his championship with Toronto,
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee had him 2-0. And I think those are two 20-point wins, right? That was just 2 years ago. I'm sure you remember that. That was just 2 seasons ago.
Was that at home?
Toronto, Milwaukee had them down 2-0. Milwaukee has won prior to this season. Prior to the last season, Milwaukee had the number 1 seed. So they beat up.
Well, hey Cam. This is not that. This is not that. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll see. There's still games to be played. There's still games to be played. Clippers have to go to Los Angeles, and when you're down 2-0, I mean, the teams have to come together.
No.
I'm
Clippers
not
have to
sure
go
if you
to
heard.
Dallas. They already been in LA
Yeah,
and lost those 2 games. They have to go to Dallas.
no.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The team has to come together on the road. When you're on the road, you spend more time together.
Right.
When
Yeah.
you're on the
No,
road,
that's not happening.
you become a
Yeah. No,
unit.
they have to get game 3. Start with game 3. And then work your way on to all that other scenarios that you're coming out with. Yeah, win game 3 in the full packed house like you're talking about.
What you got on game 3? What you got all this bluster you got? What you got on game 3?
I got nothing on it. I assume the Dallas Mavericks will win.
Okay, so how confident are you in that? I mean, are we got a dinner on this? You want to put a dinner on this or no?
Oh man, I'll put a number 2 on it. Number 2 with a
There we
Sprite.
go. There we go. There we go. Done. All right. So at least I'm gonna get a dinner off this deal. But yeah, that's a number 5 and 4 seed of the Western Conference, and then we have the Nuggets and the Trailblazers. Trailblazers won the first game, tied the second game. What do you think about this Nuggets Trailblazers game matchup?
I thought it was interesting that the first game it looked like that backcourt of Logo, Lillard, and CJ was just going to be way too much, and then Denver kind of recalibrated themselves like the Clippers could not do. After losing that first game and came back and got that split. So now it's just like, okay, well, we got to the Western Conference Finals last year. You got to the Western Conference Finals the year before that. So, we respect one another and we just have to see what's up.
So when are you going to take this back when LA goes down here in Dallas and wins 2 games in a row? And they come back to LA
I will take everything I ever said about them back if they wouldn't go down there and win 2 games. Yeah.
Yeah, and they come back to LA tied 2 apiece.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. We're gonna hold you. The fans are gonna hold you to that. So by the time next week we're having this pod because they play Friday and then Sunday, you will be eating these words. Okay, buddy.
Sure.
The Suns and the Lakers. Let's talk about the Suns snapping game 1, and then I don't know. As unfortunate it is, Chris Paul. I mean, great regular season players. He like Peyton Manning. Well, not like Peyton Manning, but Peyton Manning won a ring. Fantastic regular season guy. He gets in playoffs and get hurt. I mean, who could you equate this? Who could you equate this to?
Oh, Cam, I don't know if I can really equate to anyone, but yeah, let me start from the top there. Yeah, The Phoenix Suns came in, the second best team in the Western Conference, and they wanted to prove they wasn't no punks. And that first game, the Lakers came out. I don't want to say flat, like Paul George says, those early games sometimes you just can't get up for them. But I didn't want to put it like that. It is a playoff game, so everybody came really, ready to play. But Phoenix just, they gave them what they could,
Paul
and
George.
they really came with that effort and enthusiasm. And the Lakers like, oh, okay. Everybody started talking about him. They're old. They're not taking it seriously. They haven't played enough games together. And then in game 2, they just came out on the court like some grown ass men and just pushed some little kids around and took that win, got that split. We'll go back to the Staples and do what the Clippers couldn't do, and that's win two games at home. Now, with regards to Chris Paul, it's unfortunate. His whole entire career has been marred by injury. At some point, whether it's a critical time or whether it's during the regular season, he has a propensity to come up hurt. I mean, he ran into his own player, almost separated his shoulder. There's nothing I can say or, any comment that I can have about that. I'm so sorry. I mean, he plays hard and, when he's healthy, he's a great player. Is that going to be the reason that the Phoenix Suns don't advance to the second round? No, it's going to be LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Andre Drummond and all the rest of those grown-ass men that play for the Los Angeles Lakers that understand what's going on. And the Phoenix Suns
Are you sure they can get by? Are you sure? Are you sure Devin Booker doesn't taking it upon himself just to go out and score? He scored 70 before. You sure?
He's already tried. He's already tried to do that, Cam, in this game. He's already tried that takeover ability, and it was extremely successful to a point.
He did it in game 1. And are you sure he can't duplicate that effort? I think
I'm sure he can get
was
one
on the
more.
road.
I am sure he has one more game left in him like that. And which game it's going to be, 5 or 6? I can't really say. Is there going to be a game 6? I can't really say that. It's not going to be game 3. In game 4, he's going to realize, the gravity of the situation and may not be able to live up to those lofty expectations. Let's just say that.
I mean, I don't know what gives you so much confidence in the Lakers playing a home game. They haven't played a playoff basketball game in Staples in like 8 years. Like, what makes you so confident about this?
Well, unlike the Los Angeles Clippers that had those 7,000, I tend to think that the Los Angeles Lakers might have a few more. And they just put the latest banner up, so everyone's going to get a chance to celebrate that as well. I think they definitely will have the momentum of the crowd behind them.
So again, you misunderstand what I'm saying. It was 7,000 in the building because it was due to COVID restrictions.
Okay, well, those are going to be limited for the Lakers. That's for the Clippers. They do that kind of stuff for the Clippers. They'll tell the Clippers anything. That's not for the Los Angeles Lakers, man. Come on.
The Clippers, they tell the Clippers anything, huh?
They tell the Clippers
anything. Because again, you guys are slanted. You guys got the Pope
17 championships
wearing a jersey.
Yeah,
you guys got the Pope over there in number 23, so he gets away with everything. So now he can have pandemic aside, huh? You can just invite all your friends, your girlfriends, your colleagues, your schoolmates, everybody you went to middle school with, invite them all into the building.
If you have the card that says you got 2 injections, you're good to go. Come on in.
Oh, and they just happen to be selling those cards on Venice Beach.
No. I mean, you have to have a legit card. I mean, you are vaccinated. Let's not get into the forgeries and the janky vaccination cards. I mean, 18,000 people that really are vaccinated. Come on in.
Yeah. No, it's the COVID restrictions here are still happening, and another for a couple more weeks. So that's what limits. Just to be clear, that's what limits the fan base that was allowed to come into.
Okay, well, we'll see.
The stadium
we'll
for
see,
the Clippers last night.
We'll see.
So that's the series. We got We got the Suns is going to come back and win one of these games here in LA, and then they're going to go back to Phoenix, tied 2-2. Because right now, obviously, they're tied 1-1. So we'll see how that transpires. The 76ers and the Wizards look like the 76ers are playing. Joel Embiid, Doc Rivers, your boy went for 35 the other night. Shoot, well, how am I having a brain fart? Not Ben Simmons, not Joel Embiid, but Tobias Harris went for 35. So it shows that Doc Rivers got everybody involved. Seth Curry might go for 31 games, 1 point this series. So they're gonna sweep the Wizards without question. We have the Hawks and the Knicks. That's kind of an entertaining game there, where the Knicks, everybody in the world apparently, all these Knicks fans come out of nowhere. Everybody seemed to really want these Knicks to win, and they got to win today on the legs of Derrick Rose, who's surprisingly enough is still around, right? Still playing this after all these injuries and memes that was going on about his health and everything. Derrick Rose is out here getting it done with his um, dreadlocks. What do you think about the Knicks and the Hawks? Who's actually going to win this season? This is a 5-4 matchup, another tight matchup in the Eastern Conference.
I stick with my original prediction, Cam. I think the Hawks are going to win it because I think that they have the best player on the court all the time in Trae Young. This game, I didn't know if they necessarily used him as effectively as they could have. But again, I think they kind of understood they were going to get the Knicks, the best punch. You can't go down 0-2 like the Clippers and then get on the road and expect good things to happen. You have to kind of try and, kind of maintain and, hope to get that split so that you have some semblance of an opportunity and chance of winning the series. So the way that they came out and played, good kudos to them, but I still think the Hawks will win that series.
Okay, I do as well. I mean, it will be the upset. Excuse me. According to the seedings, it'll be an upset, but we'll see how it transpires. And we got the Bucks. I mean, they completely dismantled the Heat the other night. Did you see that? Did you see what they did? I mean, how many? They were up by 40 at one point. I think they eventually beat them by 30. Did you notice that?
So game one, Cameron, it went to overtime, and the Milwaukee Bucks were able to pull that out. Had they not been able to pull that out, I think you would see an entirely different series. In the second game, Milwaukee realized that, hey, man, we need to capitalize on what we were able to do in game one. Take it to, the 305, take it to South Beach up, 2-0, and take our chances from there. I think they definitely felt like they were fortunate to leave there without being split and coming back to South Beach and playing that. And Giannis has played well, and the rest of those other players, they played, I don't want to say above their heads, but they've certainly played to their ceiling of possibility. They the limits of their potential. So far, so good. They're up 2-0. Let's see if they can, get that split in Miami, come home and close it out. If not, the JBs will do what they do.
Yeah, they haven't been the Heat. We haven't seen what we need from Jimmy Butler. We haven't seen what we need from Bam Adebayo. We haven't seen Tyler Hero get off. We haven't seen Duncan Robinson do his thing.
You've seen Duncan Robinson, but he's been the only one.
Well, I mean, it hasn't led them nowhere. So we gotta see if they can come back, and we gotta see what that was like down in South Beach when they get down there. And then the Nets. I mean, come on, the Nets. I don't even know what to say. The Nets are rolling. Is there anything else need to be said about the Nets or tearing a hole out?
No, Nets are playing great. Good job.
Yeah. Oh, that's the NBA champions. Yeah, I know you don't want to believe it, but the Nets are showing exactly why me and all the smart money around America has picked the Nets to win the title. All hope. I mean, all jokes aside, And
Yeah, no,
considering
great job
everybody said
being the Boston Celtics without Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, or
but
Jalen Brown.
Kyrie Irving,
Great job. Great job.
Kyrie ain't played there in 3 years. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying. I mean, they had a team before, but I mean, beating a talentless, Boston Celtic team. No disrespect to Jason Tatum because he is talented, but the rest of those guys not so much. So they should sweep
Kemba
them,
Walker,
and
Marcus
we'll
Smart,
get the second round.
Kemba Walker, Marcus
Nope.
Smart, Tristan
Nope.
Thomas.
Neither one of those two players you just mentioned are talented. No.
Oh wow, neither one.
You're seeing it right now.
Okay.
You're seeing it right now that they're not really all that talented.
Well, they can't keep up with the Nets. That's what we're saying. The Nets got the Nets the best team in the league. So
they were lucky to
anything.
get into the playoffs to begin with.
Yeah,
they were in the playing tournament. So I mean, come on.
You got there. You have a point.
But what this series has exposed to me is that my new dream team is when Danny Ainge trades Jason Tatum to the Wizards for Hachimura, Bertans, and 5 first-round picks. Now you got
do 5, but
Tatum, Westbrook, and Bradley Beal. Ooh, that's better. That's better than Brooklyn. Just saying.
That's better than who?
So that would be better than Brooklyn.
You got them giving up Hachimura. Like, why would you have them give up Bertans? Or
because you got to give up something for Jason Tatum. I mean, come on, you can't just get him for nothing. I'm just saying.
The 5 first rounders. I don't even know that they'd have 5 first rounders. Washington. But yeah, I'm surprised you didn't say go to LA for Wes Matthews. I mean, that's usually what Lakers fans come
look at you. Come on.
That's usually what Lakers fans come up with. Yeah. And, oh, you and Braun already made that call. You guys already made that call and found out it wasn't enough. Is that it?
I mean, we go through every option, Cam. I mean, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. so you're not denying that call was made.
No. Not confirming or denying. I'm just saying we look at all options.
Speaking of phone calls being made, man, we're gonna have to take a break here. But when we come back, I want to know is Sterling Sharp's call to Julio Jones. I mean that borderline that was against the law down here in Los Angeles or the state of California. If he was not made aware of the phone call. And that's something we didn't see on TV. So we want to know if that's staged, and we're going to talk about Julio Jones come back on the backside. So let's take a little break here, Cleveland. We go through all options, huh? You exhaust all options out here, huh?
Hey, man, you've been freezing up a tad bit. Just letting you know.
Yeah, I noticed that too, but I got 4 bars in. I do notice that. All right, fans, thank you guys for sticking and staying with the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is week 140 of the Voice of the Fan podcast. I got my man Cleveland with me. How you doing, Cleveland?
Doing fantastic, Cam. Loving this playoff atmosphere.
Playoff atmosphere, fantastic, man. We see that you revved up, see that you're excited, man. You got a little pep in your voice, man, like you've been drinking some tea and what is it, Red Bull to get you excited about this episode?
Cam, just been watching the LA story unfold in front of our very eyes.
The LA story. Listen to this guy.
From both sides. We're
gonna have to come touch this up, man, and give you more LA story next week. But this week, man, I want to talk about. Did you see this Sterling Sharp call up Julio Jones? Did you see that segment?
I did see that, Cam.
How'd you feel when you saw that? Was that staged? Do you believe that was staged, or was it? legitimate? Did Shannon Sharp break some rules?
Wouldn't be beyond Shannon Sharp to do something a little outside the lines to try and get some publicity and some ratings and some notoriety. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if it was staged. But at the same time, what does it really matter? Where's Julio Jones going? How much does he really have left in the tank, man? I mean, Julio Jones is not going to make someone a Super Bowl champion.
Julio Jones is not a game changer, is what you're saying.
Not at this point in his career, no. He can contribute, but he's not going to be the reason you win or lose Super Bowl.
So your Seahawks, have experience in bringing in old players, Franco Harris from back in the day, Jerry Rice they brought in. Why wouldn't they bring in Julio Jones to play on the other? Marshawn Lynch after he retired. Why wouldn't they bring in a Julio Jones to play alongside to school DK and play alongside DK and open things up for Tyler Lockett? Why wouldn't they bring him in?
Oh, we have plenty of receivers up here, Cam. Thanks for asking. And I'm pretty sure that Julio probably wants at least 10 mil. I'm sure Julio wants at least 10 mil, and that's just not within our salary cap restrictions. So I don't see him being a Seahawk next year.
Who you said we got plenty of receivers? Name your third receiver. Who is he?
We haven't seen it yet, Cam. We have training camp to go.
You don't know. You don't know. I tell you what, if you sign Julio Jones, we know who your top three receivers are, regardless.
We may not, Cam. Look, Cam. It's not training camp, and I'm not ready to divulge that information right now. At who that third receiver is going to be.
Oh boy! In other words, you don't know, because if it was Julio, your third receiver quickly becomes DK Metcalf.
Not quickly. Not necessarily. Instantly. Not necessarily.
Instantly. You have Julio, Tyler Lockett, and then Mr. Projects, Mr. Sprinter. There you got the U.S. Olympian.
You can call DK Metcalf by any name you want, but just call him a Pro Bowler and the person that's responsible for you having to, shell out some cash for a nice meal over at Daniel's Broiler.
So what do you think is the best fit for Julio? In all honesty, if I'm the Packers, I bring him in tomorrow.
Isn't the best fit the Kansas City Chiefs? Go there.
Why? Why do they need him?
Because they throw the ball all the time, and I mean, if Julio's got single coverage, I mean, you can do big things.
Yeah, I'd rather see him in Green Bay. I'd rather see him in Green Bay. I mean, I know you don't want to see him there because that's an NFC squad, but
with Love thrown to him. I mean, we haven't seen Love on the field just yet. So I mean, why go there
again? If I'm Green Bay, I sign him tomorrow and be like, A-Rod, now what? Now you got Adams on one side, you got Julio on the other side. What are you complaining about now? You got the running back. What are you complaining about now? What's there to complain about?
The culture, the environment, the philosophy, the way they've treated him over the years.
Dude, shut up and take this $20 million that we about to pay you. Well, what is he making now? I think he's making. We're going to end up have to pay him $30 million. Take this $30 million for 2 more seasons. All right, dude, you know how this works. It's a business. This is a business. By all accounts, everything that tells me he's bluffing anyway. He just want to make him sweat a little bit. He's not like Russell Wilson. He didn't give out a list of names of teams that he wants to play in. He didn't give about a destinations that have concert hall openings that they're looking to fill. So he didn't go that far. He just kind of causing a little thing, want some attention. Winning the MVP wasn't enough. Losing in the playoffs, he feel like he deserved more attention. So he wants some attention right now.
Cam, what's really interesting is that I did not hear you mention the Miami Dolphins as a team that Julio Jones might be a good fit for a quarterback like Tua Tagovailoa, for a team that has playoff aspirations. They're not going to make the playoffs this year, but they certainly have those aspirations. And maybe Julio Jones brings them closer to that, that heartbreaking week 17, week 18. But I mean, you didn't mention them at all. Interesting.
No. What I mean, we're trying to figure out how we're gonna get Deshaun
Because the way you're
Watson
talking,
and
Julio
uniform.
makes it any and everybody better. So,
Well, he makes a lot of things better, but I
I mean,
mean,
he couldn't be a
we're trying to figure
good
out right
mentor
now.
for Jalen Waddle. They do with that much swag. Wow. Can teach him how to be a pro.
They're different.
And dude's
They're
had a
different
300-yard
body
game
types.
before.
They're different body types. He can't teach Waddle how to break open in a slot and go for
Could
a
he help
70-yard game.
the Miami Dolphins be a better team? That's all I was asking. Maybe even a playoff team for the first time in like 25 years.
It hasn't been that long. It's only been like 12. In fact, it's been less than that. They made it out just like 2 seasons ago. What are you talking about? Could he help them be a better team? Yeah, I think a better team in the AFC West would be, I wouldn't want to see them 2 times a year, but the New England Patriots, who they can't seem to draft a decent receiver. They certainly haven't signed a decent receiver. You sign Julio, you're going to make Cam Newton better. You're going to make, if it's not Cam Newton, if you don't win a job, you're going to give it. Mac Brown has a better receiver to throw to. So that might be the best fit overall. But if I'm Green Bay, not saying that that's a perfect fit, I think the fit for him in New England would be better. But if I'm Green Bay, I sign him tomorrow, so I'll make sure that's one step to. That's been their problem. The Green Bay Packers have been over the years like what Carolina Panthers how they have treated Cam Newton, where they were allergic to getting him help, and so you go out and sign arguably one of the best receivers of his generation. That shows at least Aaron Rodgers that hey, now you have some tools to play with. He has a running back, all pro running back, all pro wide receiver, 2 all pro wide receivers. Now, what is your complaint? Well, why don't you want to play for this team? And I think Aaron Rodgers, again, as I already stated, he's bluffing. But that would be a good way to call it bluff. Agree or disagree?
Disagree. That situation in Green Bay is not fixable, and he's already alluded to that. So, yeah, bringing Julio Jones in is not going to make the difference.
When did he say it's not fixable? I don't remember him saying that.
Culture, philosophy, doesn't trust those dudes.
With Kenny Mayne the other day?
Even before Kenny Mayne, I mean, he had said that before that, but he just, reiterated it on, Kenny Mayne's final Sports Center broadcast.
Yeah. Okay. Cleveland, the salary cap is going up, so it looks like you guys gonna have a little bit more money, nearly $30 more million to play with next season. That's how you sneak Julio under the radar. Okay, Julio, we're gonna give you this 1-year contract at $10 million, and then next year, you get the balloon payment. What do you think about that?
No, we don't have room or time for him. Thanks, though.
You guys are just throwing out a good talent, huh? Not even. Well, you gotta do that typically. You gotta do without acknowledging that there's a need there for him.
Yeah, 10 million, 12th year in league. Yeah, we're good, man.
10 million, 12th year in the league. Yes. Cleveland. Minicamp. What's going up in Seattle? What's the minicamp news in Seattle? Have they found a running back? Have they decided on a running back? What's the word down up there?
They have decided on a running back, Cam. It's Chris Carson's going to be the starting running back, and then we're going to have some other running backs come in to fill the backup role. Right now, the front runners are Shard. Right now, the front runners are Shard Penny. We have a few other people in camp, and as we get closer to training camp, we'll have a little bit better idea as to how that depth chart is going to look.
So basically, you don't have a bell cow back. You only have
we don't have Derrick Henry back there. If that's what you're asking, no.
You only have 2 receivers on your team. Who's your cornerback up there? Any talk of who that cornerback might be? Are they going? Are they going in house or are they going to bring in a free agent? Where they at?
Drafted the cornerback out of Oklahoma. He's supposed to be spectacular, great ball skills. We
Big Ten guy.
we brought in the guy Othello Witherspoon from San Francisco. Supposed to be fantastic. We're constantly in talks and conversations with former Pro Bowler Richard Sherman. So we'll get it figured out.
You guys been talking to him, Richard, for a little while now. But how's
Yeah.
those talks going?
They're great. We're constantly talking, kind of, trying to gauge the temperature in the room, kind of see what's up. He's very familiar with the area. He's very familiar with the system and the people. And, he's always loved
But
it here. It was never
when do
bad blood when he left. So.
when do you put money on the table though? At what point do you put money on the table rather than just
Oh,
keep talking and winding down?
there's been some money talked about, negotiated, and we'll just have to see what Rich is able to come with out there in the free agency market. Maybe something better. If so, then congratulations, best of luck to you. If not, we're here.
Okay. Cleveland, we're gonna talk about our power rankings next week. We're gonna get into that. So right now, let's take a little break, and we come back. We're gonna talk about this week in history. We're also going to get into what the NBA is doing with their National Basketball Social Justice Coalition and how they're impacting uh, the world in different states around the country. So let's take a little break. Again, when we come back, we're going to talk about this National Basketball Social Justice Coalition and some of their works in and around the communities, the minority communities in the country. Let's take a little break, Cleveland. Are you familiar with the National Basketball Social Justice Coalition, what they got going on?
I'm aware of what the WNBA was doing. You'll have to enlighten me on the NBA's coalition and what they are planning to do.
All right, fans. Thank you guys for sticking and staying. Thank you for coming back to the Voice of the Fans podcast. We want to thank you again, however you're listening to us, wherever you're listening to us. We appreciate you listening. Whether you're again working out, whether you're on your way to work, or your way coming home from work, we thank you again for tuning in. Whether you watch just want some background commentary as you're watching the NBA playoffs, we thank you for tuning in. And each and every week, man, we not only do our network segment, Cleveland, we give a educational information, such as this week in history. A lot of it's what's happening amongst the Black history in this country. Some of it's stuff that happens around the world. But every week we got different topics for you. But I'm gonna tell you, Cleveland, what happened in history on this day or thereabouts. 1854, May 24th, Lincoln University, first black college in the United States, was founded. And that's May 24, 1854. So that's pretty cool. Man, just last year, Cleveland, earlier this week, May 25th, 2020, George Floyd was murdered in the state of Minnesota. I want to ask you, Cleveland, I don't think we may have talked around this topic, but I don't think I asked you this question directly. And Cleveland, I've asked some of the NBA's most prevalent coaches the same question. So I want to ask you, that George Floyd murder was in the middle of the pandemic. Now, by this time, May of last year, the country was locked down for what, 2 months, 2.5 months at this point last year. Why did this George Floyd murder garner so much attention when we seen Tamir Rice, the kids in the park in Cleveland, get shot by a gun? We saw Sandra Bland get arrested by police and end up dead in the in the jail cell. We saw the guy Zimmerman kill the young boy in Florida. Well, I'm having a brain fart. But Trayvon Martin, Zimmerman killed him. Um, why is it that George Floyd's murder garnered so much attention and was such a catalyst for change? I mean, we saw after that happened, we saw people rioting in France. We saw people rioting in Germany, obviously in different states around the country here in America. Why do you think that situation kind of America or the world kind of drew to that situation? What was it about that situation that brought the world in?
I think it's twofold, Cam. I think for one, I think it was the duration of the brutality and how long it actually transpired and took place. And secondly, I think it was the technique with which the brutality was being administered. As we did touch on this last year, but I will say it again. Um, in my deepest, darkest rage, it would never occur to me to put all of my weight of my knee and leg on another person's throat. You might think of punching somebody, you might think of breaking this or that, but that for me, I mean, call me whatever, but that's just kind of out of the scope of even my, imagination. Like I would never think to do that. And then to watch someone doing that for almost 9 minutes with just no remorse is what really was the catalyst for this whole thing. I mean, we've seen other things. We've seen people get shot. We've seen people get roughed up. We've seen these other things, but just someone physically putting their knee on someone until they die for 9 minutes is as graphic as we've probably come across.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It is pretty bad. Thank you for your response, man. I just wanted to get that feedback. Cleveland, May 31, 1909, the National Negro Committee held its first conference. This Negro Committee is now known as the NAACP. May 26, 1956, we had Althea Gibson win the French title, the French Open, excuse me, and en route to her championship, become the first black woman tennis player to win major tennis titles. Pretty impressive back in 1956. And then Arthur Ashe, a few years later, he wins the men's national singles on the U.S. Lawn Association and became the first black man to win. The U.S. Lawn Tennis Association, which becomes the U.S. Open, he became the first black man to win this in 1968. So Arthur Ashe, those are some of the things that happened in history and some of the examples that we like to highlight, kind of what makes that segment so special. And we give you some historical references from some of the things that had happened in our history. Cleveland kind of tailing off of that, the National Basketball League and NBA is kind of done a couple of things. They introduced the NBA Africa, which gives some kids opportunities. As you know, we got several players um, who's come from over in Africa. Chris Boucher for the Toronto Raptors. You have the other guy, shoot number 43. Why am I having a brain fart?
Pascal Siakam,
Pascal
Serge
Siakam,
Ibaka. We got
Serge
plenty
Ibaka.
of
Yeah,
players. Bam Adebayo.
there you go.
Yeah.
Keep it going. Got a lot of players from Africa that perform in the NBA. So them opening up this league is gonna give these kids an opportunity to, or future NBA players to kind of develop under true NBA action, true NBA coaches, and they can see kind of how these guys develop and can they play within the American system. So that's pretty cool. But they also did this past week is the National Basketball Justice Coalition, and this group is amongst coaches and players. And what their plan to be is they have your guy Carmelo Anthony, Avery Bradley, Sterling Brown, Donovan Mitchell. Carl Anthony Towns, Mickey Arison, the managing general partner of the Heat, Steve Ballmer, the Clippers chairman, Clay Bennett, Oklahoma City chairman. They got Mark Lassery, the Milwaukee Bucks governor, Vivek Ranadi, Sacramento Kings chairman and governor, Coach Lord Pierce, who coached the Atlanta Hawks for several years, Coach Doc Rivers, Philadelphia 76ers, obviously Adam Silver, Michelle Roberts, and Deputy Commissioner Mark Tatum. So all these guys have kind of formed this group, Cleveland. And what it says here in this group, what their intention is they want to bring awareness on behalf of the NBA, the Social Justice Coalition. The coalition's director releases the final statement. Exactly 1 year ago, George Floyd was murdered by a police officer in Minneapolis. Like millions around the world, NBA players, coaches, governors, officials, and staff throughout our organization were outreached to see the horrifying and unlawful actions of the officer who pinned Mr. Floyd's neck to the ground under his knee for, as you described, 9 minutes. Mr. Floyd's death added a new fuel to the protests, marches, and urgent calls for racial justice and reform locally and nationally. So that's what they want to kind of put their efforts to. I think this is in conjunction, or this is congruently in conjunction with the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's award that they announced that the NBA is going to have, acknowledging the NBA players that kind of do their best to give back to the community. So these are a couple of great things that I think the NBA is doing. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, first off, we can get Clay Bennett off of that podium. He doesn't need to be a part of that organization that's going on with that. It doesn't. It takes away from their credibility. But secondly, I think it's fantastic that they are taking this stance. I again have reiterated the point that the NBA has been at the forefront of using their platform for social change, and most notably the WNBA. Let us not forget that the state of Georgia is vastly different in how they're voting and their influence within the Senate and the House, and a big part of
Large
what the
parts of the
WNBA
WNBA.
was able to do with
Sure.
regards to kind of bringing focus and attention to Ormac, the opponent of the owner that they had disdain for telling them to not be about social issues. They were able to make a phenomenal change in our political structure. So I'm not saying that the NBA is taking it that far, but the fact that they're taking steps to kind of bring light to that and use their platform for the greater good, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's a great acknowledgement by the NBA. I'm glad they acknowledge it and they and they have a plan. They have a plan in place to kind of impact these situations and issues. So kudos to them for doing it. They've been the most inclusive league of all the major sports here in America. We have NFL, Major League Baseball, hockey. The NBA has been at the forefront, and the NBA and obviously the WNBA have been at the forefront of leading this movement on America and kind of impacting, using their knowledge and funding and resources to kind of impact these changes. So kudos to them for doing that. Cleveland, Kwame Brown. What's your thoughts on Kwame Brown, man? Is it Kwame Brown versus the world? Is that how we gonna do it? Because he done went after Charlemagne the God. He went after Becky with the good hair. He went after Steven Jackson. I mean, he's gone after Stephen A. Smith. He's gone after so many people. Jamel Hill. He's gone after so many people. Is there a stopping point? Is it time that this gets old? Are you all in on the Kwame Brown live streaming, or do you have that the alert set up? Where are you with Kwame Brown and his veracity to kind of tell his story?
Made a lot of money in the NBA. I believe he's got an NBA championship ring. That's as far as I can go with it.
You're not listening to Kwame?
No.
Oh, you gotta listen to Kwame. You not listen to none of it?
No.
Cleavon, come on, you're doing yourself a disservice, man. You're
Am
doing
I?
yourself. You're
I'm doing
doing
myself a
yourself.
disservice by not listening to Kwame Brown.
Hey, man, Kwame is dropping some gems, man. Kwame is dropping some gems.
Too bad he
He
couldn't drop some gems in the league. Might be a little bit further along.
well, clearly there's a sign of clearly there's is some frustration that he's venting. You know, he's had this pin up for 20 years, man. 20 when somebody has this pin up for 20 years, you know it's going to be good when they finally
Man,
burst.
him and Andrew Bynum, I bet they can sit around and tell some tall tales
Andrew Bynum, wow.
about what could have been.
I mean, at least Andrew Bynum has some moments in the league. I mean, you can there's some and you can go on YouTube and find some Andrew Bynum highlights. I'm not sure how many Kwame Brown highlights you're gonna find.
Okay, well, maybe him and Mike Olawokande can sit around and talk about what could have been, man.
That's cold, man. Hey, you got to go back and listen to Kwame, man. You got to listen to him get at Steven Jackson and
He's getting at Stephen A. Smith. He's getting at Jamel. I mean, he's getting at all these people, but I mean, what has prompted all this? And I mean, who cares, man? Kwame Brown?
see, that's exactly why he's doing it. You doing the same thing Stephen A. did. Kwame Brown, he was a bust. He was a bum.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
there's all
yeah.
kinds of factors that can factor into it. Oh man, Mike Jordan drafted him, took all his confidence away, and oh man, he came right out of high school. He never quite assimilated. He wasn't on the right team. He wasn't in the right man. Cut that out. Kwame Brown played like 12 years in the league. Like I said, he's got a
Exactly.
ring. He's got like $40 million in contract money. I don't want to hear the Kwame Brown story.
You gotta listen to Kwame Brown, man. He made over 60. Well, his contracts were up to like 60 million. So
Contract money, 60 million. Okay, so what's that?
30. He probably took
36
30
after
home.
taxes?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Is this a tragedy? Is this a tragic tale?
No, the tell is everybody, including you, I guess, consider him a bum or a bust. And
I don't consider him a bum or a bust unless you're talking about with regards in relation to where he was drafted in the NBA draft. Obviously, he's not. Like we just said, he amassed $60 million in contract money. So how is that a bum or a bust? Now, if you want me to give you all kinds of
and,
accolades and
and
try and
that's
give you some type of accomplishments, then the answer is no.
that's exactly what Cleveland. That's exactly without you even seeing them. That's exactly where he's coming from. What you just broke down is exactly where he's coming from, and exactly the complaint he had with. Why am I drawing blank tonight? With Steven Jackson, who's he doing the show with?
Stephen A. Smith, you talking about?
No, he's Stephen A. Smith. Yes, him as well. But who is Stephen A? Who's doing the? Why am I having a Matt Barnes? Jeez.
Oh, so
That's
you're talking about the smoke guys.
all the smoke. He went at those guys first. That's who initially
Oh,
went
so he
at
went
those
Stephen
guys.
Jackson and Matt Barnes. Okay.
He went
Okay.
at them first after they had Gilbert Arenas and your girl Jenny Bus.
Genie.
After they had Jeannie Buss and Gilbert Arenas on, who both kind of, and Jeannie Buss didn't really take a shot at him, but she mentioned his name, and Gilbert Arenas took some shots at him, and that's where it all started from. But then he's just been unloading on, like I say, Jamel Hill, Stephen A. Smith, um, Charlemagne the God. I don't know how he got in there, but he's killed. He's been berating Charlemagne the God. I mean, I don't know if you know exactly what's going on with him, but go ahead and look that up. But his you won't be disappointed with your few minutes of.
Are you making me go listen to Kwame Brown? Because that does not seem like that is worth my time, my friend.
You
Are you
won't be
sure?
you won't be disappointed when you listen to the first 30 minutes of Kwame Brown's rant when he goes at Stephen A. Jackson and Stephen Jackson and Matt Barnes. You won't be disappointed. I tell you that. You go put it on some back news as some
I trust
back
you. If you say so, I will give it a listen.
while you're doing the dishes on your way to work. Pull it up, listen to it. You won't be disappointed. I tell you that. Cleveland, man, we got some fights in the boxing world that's coming up. Some,
Mm.
we actually gonna see some decent fights this summertime.
Oh, for
We got,
real?
we. I mean, are, are you Mayweather, John Paul, Logan Paul? Are you looking forward to that? I mean, okay, but on that, I sent you. Did you get my email? I sent you Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson warming up with the Charlo brothers because he's gonna fight on that undercard. They're trying to make the undercard. They're trying to make the undercard really good fights. In fact, let me look at it. They're trying to make
Chad
that.
Johnson is going to get Nate Robinson out there. He does not know how to fight, and he's going to not see a punch. It's going to land him flush on his face, and I hope Chad gets up from all that.
Let me see. Let me pull up the undercard that they have going on here. Da, da, da. Yeah, but that's gonna be interesting. You have no interest in seeing that, huh?
No.
Let me see who they having a good undercard. Mayweather. So I'm looking up the undercard fans. I'm trying to look up the undercard. So they're gonna have Gene Pascal take on two-time Badu Jack in a 12-round fight. That's a legitimate fight. Jean Pascal and Bottle Jack. That's a legit fight that they're having going on. They're having Jared Swift Hurd, who was a champion, a former champion, former unified super welterweight champion. He's going to be fighting Luis Ardias on this undercard, and they're actually going to make Chad Johnson makes his boxing debut. So they have a couple legitimate fights sandwiched with Chad Johnson and then Logan Paul Mayweather. So what they're trying to do is get true boxing fans to tune in with YouTube fans to tune in. Because the Logan Paul brothers have like 2 million followers apiece, right? So that's how they're trying to make it. They're trying to give it some legitimacy with the legitimate fights that they're having. Which again, those are legitimate fights, but then obviously the draw is Mayweather and Logan Paul, which Logan Paul probably won't touch Mayweather the whole fight. He probably won't touch him. It's highly doubtful he gets one lick in unless Mayweather, wants to sell it and wants him to get a lick in. He probably won't get a lick in. So just an update on this game. It's the Utah Jazz. 3.5 minutes to go. 3.5 minutes to go. Memphis 122, Utah Jazz 136. So it looks like Utah will be even in the series up one apiece. Cleveland. So outside of that, that doesn't whet your appetite. That doesn't get you to tune in to Logan Paul. Is going on down in South Beach, up by the way. Uh, Mayweather, Chad Johnson. No interest in Chad Johnson getting down. Okay. What about Wild Fury Wilder 3? Interested in seeing that one again.
Interested in seeing that again. Let's see if Deontay Wilder can come in without the, gladiator suit on. And, maybe he has a little bit more energy. But I kind of feel like the more I think about it, I'm kind of thinking it's going to end up the same way the second fight happened. I'm hoping for better. I'm hoping he's able to land that devastating right hand, but I'm not seeing it.
Did you watch the first fight?
I did watch the first fight.
Who'd you have winning the first fight?
I had Wilder winning that first fight.
Okay. And so you had Wilder. I had Wilder actually winning that first fight. Not sure how people had Fury winning that first fight. They saw Fury was winning until he got knocked out. Well, yeah, you're not winning. I was winning the race till I lost it. What are you talking about? So Fury made no doubt about it in the second fight. So this third fight, if I could talk to Wilder, I would say just do what Mike Tyson did. cut a hole in the towel in front of the hotel room, wear that into the ring, and let's go get it. Just do that. Don't try to dress it up. Don't try to make it look good. I wasn't buying that excuse. I mean, that was a piss poor excuse. Were you buying that excuse? The
Yeah, the
suit,
suit looked a little
the
heavy. It
suit,
looked like they
the
were
suit
doing it
wore
for
too
a
much.
little bit. It looked like they were
Well,
doing it. They certainly look like they overdid it. Do I think that's the reason they lost the fight? No. Do I think that's a contributing factor? Yeah. A huge contributing factor? No, not really. I think it just all kind of came down to, you know what I'm saying? If you were planning on putting on a suit and all of a sudden your suit is 25 pounds heavier and you got to walk like, 200 yards and sit in it for 10 minutes, I mean, it might take something out of you, but as a professional, you're supposed to know better than that. And,
aren't
why
these
you
the
didn't know
finest?
that before the fight
Yeah,
is
that's
is
where I'm at. Why didn't
ridiculous.
That's where I'm at. Why didn't you know kind of what this was going to take out of you before you actually put it
Yeah,
on?
I mean, did you? He's making it seem like he just tried it on for the first time in the dressing room and then just committed to it. It's like, no, this is a heavyweight title fight. If it feels heavy, you'd be like, no, I just don't want to put this on, and you just don't.
But aren't these the boxing? I don't know, Cleveland. Have you done boxing trainings at all in your life? Not,
I've
I'm
done
not
some.
talking about. I'm not talking about just hit the heavy bag or try to hit the speed bag.
No,
Have
I've
you
I've
did
gone to a
a
few of the classes. Yeah,
legitimate boxing classes? Have you done that?
yes,
How'd you feel afterwards?
extremely tired.
Cleveland, I'll tell the story, man. I went to the I bought the boxing classes. It was you got 6 classes for $99. Well, it was two people. 99 you got 3 classes, but it was you and a couple kind of date. So I bought these classes, and so I took my girl at the time with me. Big mistake. I'm like boxing up, man. What are they gonna do? Have us, put on the gloves? We're gonna hit the speed bag, hit the heavy bag a couple times. What is this gonna be, dude? I went in there with an ex boxer who moved out here, and he got out of boxing. He just became a trainer, and he's gonna train people on boxing. Plus, I got my girl with me, so I'm a little, I want to show off some stuff. He wants to because I do have my girl with me. He wants to add more to it. Like, can you handle this? Like, prove what he can do, bro. After hitting the speed back for like 90 seconds, then you got to jump rope for another 90 seconds. Then you hit the heavy bag as hard as you can for 90 seconds. Then you got to dance around the ring for 90 seconds. Dude, I'm like, well, come on, this ain't what I signed up for. I didn't sign up for a real workout, bro. That shit was grueling. So we get through. It was a 90-minute course. So 3 90-minute courses we got. And I had brought at the time. They said the thing said bring some water. We'll have water for you to fill up. But I was like, okay, it was early in the morning. I'm gonna bring an orange and a banana. The water, the orange and banana. After the class came on. Oh my goodness. After the class, so my girl after the class, so we go through the class 90 minutes, and it was the dude had the inside the ring, he had the lines tied, so we wanted to go up, under, do the uppercut, up, under, do the uppercut. We're doing all the whole boxing shit, and I was like, I didn't realize how many muscles that you're actually using in boxing. So I'm beat. I'm beat. I'm barely making it through. I can't, like, when is this fucking class over? Like, hasn't it been 90 minutes already? Like, come on, man. We don't need the extra today. We don't. I actually told him we don't need the extra today. We'll need the extra 15 minutes, okay, to make it. We don't need the extra. 90 minutes is up. Hit the bell. Let's get the fuck out of here. So again, in the little bag I had a towel, my water, my banana, and the orange. I didn't eat breakfast before. I figured we'd take a break. I bite into the banana. That didn't happen. We refill the water, so I drink a couple water refills of water. So my girl goes to the bathroom. Dude, I'm beat for real. So I go outside. I go outside and I sit on the steps. I cannot. I want the orange. I cannot peel the orange. Like that's how tired I cannot peel that orange. So you know what you when you that's a task, right? Peeling the orange is not. It's kind of a task. This was the hardest orange I've ever peeled in my life. That's how fucking wore out I was. I could not peel the orange. I was like, okay, so I'm trying to, I couldn't really get it started. I bit into it, trying to. I was like, okay, fuck it. The banana, the banana. I just broke the banana in half, bro. So my girl comes out. I got the banana, like I just broke it in half. Like it was no peeling of it, so you can what you want. She looks at me like, what the hell? Oh my goodness, that shit was full. I was like, yo, I was wore the fuck out, bro. Now I think on the way home I was driving like 10 miles per hour. I didn't want to make no sudden movements. Like,
Did they,
it was,
did you get it? Did you get into that 3 minute round that
oh,
felt like
oh
20
my
minutes?
Oh my goodness, bro. We did everything,
Whoa.
bro. We did it. Oh, hit the bag. Okay, give me a right. Give me a right. Right, left. Right, left. And then I'm like, okay, enough. I'm like, really, like, bro, we don't need the extra. Okay, this is supposed to be like a fun little workout. Oh my goodness. The
That
mentality I
three
had
that
going into it, the mentality I had going into it was much different than when I came out of it. So I was like, okay, all right, motherfucker. So look, check this out. I'm coming back. So I went back the next week. And dude, when I walked into class, dude was like, I expect to see you again. I was like, oh wow. I said, well, I did pay for 3 of these motherfucking classes though. So yeah, I'm gonna at least get 2 of them. I didn't go for the third one, but I went back for the second one. Boxing ain't no joke. I say all this to say boxing ain't no joke for real.
oh
It's
no, they make that 3 rounds look like it's just flying
these
by. It is not flying by, man.
these guys are some of the superior. So, and I say that to say, like, these are superior athletes, man. These guys train for it. So you let this suit you put on, like this, only thing I could equate it to is like the lead vest that we would wear training for football. Like he said, it weighed 40 pounds. Like I wore that lead vest before. That took that much energy out of you. You couldn't fight.
I mean, think about it, Cam. You're like you have all that adrenaline, you have all that, other stuff going on. I mean, your body is just not really. Even you've been in championship fights before. I mean, this is kind of serious, man. I mean, would you really want to put 40 extra pounds on and just for like 20 minutes before a
I mean,
fight?
not. I mean, not. What does it say? Not willingly, but I mean, I'm just saying how.
Yeah, so
How do
so there's no excuse or explanation for it because he willingly did it. And like I'm saying, when you're a top-notch athlete like that, little things you can feel the difference in it,
you can
right?
throw it off? You can throw it off.
So if
Okay.
you put like a 40-pound suit on, you'd be like, no, man, where's my
Yeah, you gotta know.
robe?
You
Where's
gotta.
my
Where's
robe
my
at?
rope? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Where's
I'm
my?
like for Black History Month, that's why you did this? Like, no,
Come on. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't like the excuse. I didn't like him going
no.
kind of leaning on that. And then he got his ass kicked. So I don't know.
The
I
only
mean,
way
I'm gonna
it's
go
different is if he hits him with the right hand. And so
early.
far, he's been able to elude that for the most part.
He's been able to elude it, but he's also been able to um Tyson
Use his
Fury.
body and his boxing skills. I
You
mean,
got to give him credit. He's a boxer, and
yeah.
he's dancing around boxing him where Wilder is not ready for it. So that is going to be interesting. I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna try to cover it. I'm gonna be there in Vegas. I think it's August. They said so. I'll be there.
I think it's in
Um,
July. I
is it July?
think so, yeah.
Okay. And then we have Pacquiao versus Spence.
Wow. Yeah. Instead of Terrence Crawford, no comment. Keep it moving.
So, Mike, I don't know. Pacquiao's a cool dude. He's good to interview. He brings the energy. He's gonna bring his 3 million fans, whether they're be in the stadium or they're watching on TV. They're buying a pay per view. That's what it is. That's what this is for Spence. It's a money draw.
Oh
That's
man,
what
that's
it.
cool.
That's
That's cool.
that.
Whatever.
That's
Keep money
that's what
drawing,
it
man.
is. That's what it is for Spence. But I thought who did what's the guy's name out of Florida that Pacquiao knocked out? Shit, I can't have it.
Keith
With the
one time
ponytail,
Thurman.
Keith Thurman. I thought he was gonna whoop Pacquiao. I expected Thurman to whoop Pacquiao. Pacquiao got in there and put it on, knocked him out in the first round, and Thurman didn't know how to bounce back. Um, Not saying he's gonna knock down Spence. I don't think that Spence. I think Spence is gonna punish him. But I say that to say that Pacquiao, he's a championship boxer. Like, I think this is gonna be worth watching. What do you think? You know?
I mean, it depends on what you mean by worth watching. Pacquiao's old, dude. I mean, even if he wins, I mean, what's the point? Everybody wants him to fight Crawford. I mean, fighting a bunch of other people is just corny. It's just corny to me.
Well, they're not fighting. For whatever reason, they're not fighting. Spence says he wants an 80-20 or 60-40, 80-20. I don't, and this is something I don't understand about boxing is like, how much say is it the boxer that says what's going on? Is it the promoter that says what's going on? Because
Always a promoter. It's always a promoter.
well, they both say they want it needs to make sense. We've heard that it needs to make sense. I've heard Spence say it's seven. I'm offering you 70-30, and then if you keep playing around, it's going to be 80-20. Well,
Okay.
Porter, not Porter,
Terrence
Crawford.
Crawford. Yeah.
Crawford feels like it should be. I should be getting 60-40, or 70-30. Like who are
I
you
mean,
to
that's not
dictate
true.
it's
I
going
mean,
to
that's
win?
not true because I mean, Errol Spence is the bigger name, but that's irrelevant at this point, man. These guys have been doing this for years and years and years,
It's
and
been 3 years now.
it's just a sad assessment as to where boxing is that they haven't fought to this point.
Yeah, and unfortunately, so I don't know if the pandemic year counts. It should. I don't see why it wouldn't. But as of 2019, uh, Crawford had like 4 years on his deal, so that takes him out of his prime. Like he'll be 35 by the time he's out of his deal with
Well, whatever,
top.
man.
With top.
It's pointless at this point. If they were going to fight, they were going to fight. I mean,
Yeah.
2022, seeing those guys fight, it's not nobody cares, man.
So, all right, fans, we come to that time of the show. Let me get my stopwatch ready, and the fans were a little upset that I cut you short last week. I don't think these Mariners deserve 2 minutes, but the fans have spoken, and you got 2 minutes on the clock. Go.
Okay, so the Mariners came off of a little bit of a losing streak last two series, but they were able to bounce back. They did get the series with Oakland, won 2 out of 3. Their top prospect, Jared Kelnick, did hit another home run. Their top prospect, pitching wise, Gilbert, did manage to go 5 innings, gave it 2 runs, looking better. Julio Rodriguez down in the minors is looking fantastic. Taylor Trammell as well down in AAA, looking all right. The All-Star, the Gold Glove shortstop, Mr. Crawford, on a nice hitting streak. Kyle Lewis is starting to get his legs underneath him, and I feel there's big things for the Mariner, like right around the horizon. Doesn't look like it, but I'm seeing the pieces.
Didn't they just get shut out earlier this week? Didn't they just get shut out?
No hitter was last week. No hitter was last week.
No, shut out. I didn't say no hitter. They just get shut out.
No. The Mariners are scrappers, man. They play well as a team. They have a lot of energy. No quit in them. So the pitching staff's been a little bit injured as well. Our ace Marco Gonzalez is scheduled to come back shortly. So I feel good about it.
So would the name change when they move to Portland? Will it be the Portland Mariners, or will they change the name, or Will they change the
No, no,
uniform
the
style?
Mariners aren't going. The Mariners aren't going anywhere, Cam. You need to cut that out. I don't know who told you that story, but no, the Mariners are here to stay at T-Mobile Park.
T-Mobile Park. All right, Cleveland, man. That's it. It's been too long for you in your Mariner talk. I think I don't know. I'm wondering if the name would change though when they moved it down to I-5 a little bit. Do they become?
I'm wondering how disappointed you're going to be when the World Series is up here next year. You're going to be like,
Oh
"Wow,
shit!
I should have been on board."
Oh my goodness. Cleveland. On that note, man, we're gonna leave you and the fans with that bit of laughter right there. That comment. As always, want to thank you for your participation. Fans, want to thank you for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Once again, however you're listening to it, wherever you're listening to us at, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Make sure you leave a comment or two. Let us know what you think about what we're doing here. Cleveland, I want to thank you as always for your participation. Give a shout out to the guys with H&B Media. Cleveland, where can they find you on social media?
They can find me at Clevey Wonder on Twitter and Cleveland Steel on Instagram.
And I can be found at What's Good in Sport on Twitter. That's What's Good, the letter N, Sports Singular on Twitter. And on Instagram, you can find me at Voice of Fans. Voice of Fans on Instagram. So enjoy this NBA basketball, man. We got about another 2 months of this NBA playoff action, right? As I mentioned earlier, the Utah Jazz tied it up with the Memphis Grizzlies. So everybody tied it up except the 76ers tonight went on their route to take a 2-0 lead. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you tune into the Clippers on their coming back trail because they're going to come
Mm-hmm.
back. Right. Make sure you tune in for that. And let's see what the Suns is going to do. Cleveland, once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your participation. Oh, I got a quote I want to leave you guys with. This quote is from Mr. Brandon Staley, the Chargers head coach. And the quote goes, confidence comes from preparation. Confidence comes from preparation. So you should be confident in what you're doing as long as you prepare for what you're doing. As long as you prepare for it, you should be confident with it. And I think the Clippers are confident that they can come back because they're going to be prepared to do the right things to get themselves back in the game. So
Sure.
they kind of go one and the same there. But fans, I want to thank you again for your time. Thank you for your tuning into our show. Again, be sure to rate, review our podcast. And lastly, as always, I want to thank you for making our voice your choice. Thank you, Cleveland. Have a good one.
Have a great night, Cam.
Yeah.